Hello, class. As I have already explained to you, our group got the great opportunity to interview Don Langford, who works for the company Advance America. This is him right here, which consumer groups have labeled as a predatory lending company. Since our project requires exegetical information to help describe both sides of our topic of predatory lending, we thought that this would be a great opportunity, or this great opportunity to interview Don would be of great help to describe Advance America and other and similar companies' stance on our topic. Don, our group thanks you for taking time out of your day to help us with our business ethics project. If you could, would you introduce yourself to the class and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'd be glad to, Mitchell.
All right.
First, I got to look up what exegetical means. I have no idea. Anyway, my name is Don Langford. I'm on the board of directors of Advance America National Cash. I'm on the nominating and governance committee. I'm the chairman of the audit committee. In addition, I'm on the board of directors of Harley-Davidson Financial Services and Home Access Healthcare. I am the chairman of the board of directors of U.S. Rowing and the chairman of the board of stewards of the Casitas Fund. As a little background, Mitchell knows this, but I went to Purdue University. I have a Bachelor of Science degree. I have an MBA from the University of Massachusetts, and I'm a CPA. I've worked at Arthur Andersen, Scott Forsman, for Marshall Field V, and for the last 15 years for Dean Buntrock, who is the founder of Waste Management, and I manage his businesses and investments.
It's a pretty impressive list.
My biggest accomplishment is Mitchell.
Right here. All right. If we just want to get right into this,
Sure.
I'll ask the first question. First question is, as a member of Advance America's board, could you give me a quick description, or actually a detailed description, of how your business works?
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Right.
It's actually a very simple business. The company offers small denomination, short-term, unsecured loans, and they're due on the customer's next paycheck. So the way it works is a customer will come into one of our centers. They will provide some personal information like name and address, their phone number, some proof of identification, so we know it's them. We get their employment information, and that's critical. They have to have a job, and so they have to provide something like a pay stub. In addition, we get their bank account information and their references. We verify all that information, but we don't do a credit check on them.
Okay.
The customer then gives us a personal check for the amount of the advance plus the fee. So, for example, as I'll tell you in a minute, the fee on $100 is $15. So they would write us a check for $115. We would give them a $115 advance, and they would leave. On their specified repayment date, which is generally the date of their next paycheck, or usually 2 weeks, they're required to come back into the center, pay us the loan, the advance, $100 plus $15, and we give them back their check. Now,
Okay.
if they don't pay it in full, then we may go after a collection, which could include taking the check that they gave us and trying to deposit it at the bank so that we could get our $115. If it turns out that an individual is not able to pay, then most states have a repayment plan over time so that they can unwind the loan over a number of months generally.
Okay.
So that's basically how it works. Pretty simple.
Yeah, it is
not a lot
pretty
to it.
simple.
Yeah.
All right. I got another question for you. All right. Why are the types of loans your company makes so controversial but yet so lucrative?
Well, if you're a member of a consumer group, they generally have two big problems. One is the APR, which is calculated at 391%. Sounds like a very big number. Remember, this is a 2-week loan.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that they say that we prey on poor people. You know, both of those things sound very tough. But that's why we get a lot of grief.
Okay. All right. Question number 3. When people bring up the controversies surrounding your business, how would you respond?
Well, let's deal with those two issues specifically. First of all,
Okay.
An APR for a 2-week loan of 391% sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But you got to put it into context. And I'll bet nearly everyone in this class has had this situation, and I know Mitchell has. If you overdraft, you bounce a check. Just so you know, the mean amount of a bounced check is $66. That's the mean amount. If you do that, the bank charges, again, the mean amount, $27. If you do the math on that, that calculates to $41 per hundred, or an APR of 1,067%. Okay, remember the 391 everybody's complaining about. You bounce a check, it costs you 1,067%.
It doesn't sound so bad now.
No, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Let's say you take your debit card and you go to the point of sale, you go to your store, you buy something, but you didn't have enough money in your checking account.
Okay.
In that situation, where a bounce check, the median fee is $66, the median fee for somebody overdrafting with their debit card at a cash register is $20. You know what the bank charges? $27. Do the math again. A median fee of $27 comes out to $135 per hundred, or an APR of 3,520%. So if you're simply looking at APR, you're really missing the point. So you have to look at these advances in perspective. And another thing to keep in mind is, remember I said that we verified the information people gave us, but we didn't do a credit check.
Okay.
20% of the fees that we earn, we have to write off as bad debt because people don't pay us. So it's a very expensive thing for us to loan money for. 20% of the fees we lose. But you also have to keep in mind that there's a steady demand for this short-term credit.
Yeah.
And it really reflects the pressures that a lot of people in the United States are feeling today. But it is a steady demand. Advance America itself last year originated 11 million cash advances. That means
incredible.
it is a huge number. That means we advanced nearly $4 billion to individuals for short-term credit. So there is a huge demand. If it wasn't a demand, we wouldn't be in business. Our demographics also tell you that it's really a much broader swath of the population than simply, it might be described, poor people. The average customer for Advance America, their family earnings is $50,000. Nearly 20% of our customers earn $75,000 or more.
That's surprising to me.
It's surprising to nearly everyone. The average customer is 48 years old. 91% of our customers have high school diplomas, and nearly 60% have some college education. So many people are using this in a fairly sophisticated way to manage their own finances. Our goal is to attract customers by offering straightforward, high quality, simple loans in a very professional way. We think our products and services represented a competitive source of liquidity for people, and that's compared to the alternatives like we've talked about before. That includes overdrafts, bounce check protection, late paying your bills late, return checks for non-sufficient payment, and then going out and trying to get a short-term collateralized loan.
So it sounds like it's really just the best option.
Well, it's one of many. It's really an option that people need. It's very difficult for you to go to your bank, your local bank, and ask for $300.
Yeah.
They're not interested.
Yeah. All right. Question number 4. How do you feel about the current legislation that's going through right now in Congress? And how do you expect it to affect your company if your side wins and if your side loses?
Well, as you know, the recently passed federal legislation is a big deal, and it covers many things, not just our product, but it covers everything from whether big banks should fail to, again, what maybe our product. It's huge. The problem at the moment is there are very few details underlying it. They have to set up the department. They actually have to come up with rules, but I think it's a very positive thing for us.
Okay.
And the reason is one of our biggest risks is uncertainty, and that uncertainty comes from there is a patchwork of legislation in every state governing cash advances. So the hope would be that this reduces the number of different kinds of regulations. It also legitimatizes it because I can guarantee this department will be vetting this product and will be getting to the point that it's something that everybody can expect. So I think that's the case that will happen, and it will be a good thing. It will probably reduce our profitability in some ways. I don't know how, but that's generally how these things work.
Yeah.
But if it turns out that it's very onerous, which anything can happen, but if it is very onerous, it will change our business model. We won't be able to operate. Let's say, for example, they put a limit that you can only have a 36% APR. We would lose money on every one of our advances. I mean, you think about losing 20% of all of your earnings simply to bad debts. We couldn't survive.
Yeah.
So we would have to do something. The other big loss would be the choice that many consumers would have as to how do they get $300 when their car breaks down, when they have a medical expense they hadn't expected. Where are they going to go for the money? They have to go to their relatives, and that's not always an easy thing to do, or they're going to have to go to places that are much more difficult. So.
All right, and I have a final question for you.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts about the downfall of Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae? Because we're going to be analyzing that a little bit later on in our presentation.
That's a very difficult question. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae don't affect us directly. The larger economic problems that exist today, where companies can't borrow, where they have laid off people, you would think would benefit us because people have a need for liquidity and short-term loans. But it's actually not the case at all. Because remember what I said, these are called payday loans, meaning you have to have a job. So we ask for your pay stub.
Yeah.
So as the unemployment rate rises, the number of people who can come to us for help decrease.
Yeah.
And so it's actually kind of counterintuitive. But when the economy is suffering, our business sags as well. But to get back to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, those are very, very difficult problems. I don't know how we solve them. They are so big. But I'm sure this class will be able to solve it.
Yep. All right. Well, our group really appreciates your time. And on to the next part of our presentation. Thank you, guys.